Have you ever felt that building wealth is like trying to solve an impossible puzzle, something only a fortunate few ever figure out? Have you worked endlessly, giving your time and energy every single day, only to discover that your financial situation never seems to improve? If this sounds familiar, know that you are far from alone. Many people live inside this frustrating cycle for years. The truth, however, is that wealth is not reserved for the lucky. It is created through intention, discipline, and a clear strategy. This audiobook is designed to become your roadmap for building wealth from the ground up. It will show you that financial success is not a matter of chance, but the result of understanding and applying timeless principles. You will learn how to reshape your thinking, put your money to work instead of constantly working for it, and build a future that offers both security and freedom for generations to come. As renowned financial educator Robert Kiyosaki famously said, "The rich don't work for money. They have their money work for them." By the time you reach the end of this audiobook, you will understand the core principles behind lasting wealth creation and possess a practical framework to move from financial struggle toward lasting prosperity. You will no longer see yourself as someone who simply consumes. Instead, you will become someone who builds, creates, and expands. Your journey toward financial independence begins today. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing content. Here, you won't just discover how to earn an income, you'll learn how to make your money generate even more money. Chapter 1. Break the chains of poverty. Thinking. Break the chains within your mind, and the chains holding back your life will begin to disappear. Poverty is much more than simply lacking money. It is a pattern of beliefs that convinces you that you are powerless, incapable of changing your future, and destined to accept less than your true potential. These beliefs are often planted by society, reinforced by the environment in which you were raised, and sometimes repeated by the very people who care about you. But you must recognize one fundamental truth. Your mind is either your greatest investment or your greatest obstacle. The choice belongs entirely to you. The thoughts you repeatedly entertain eventually shape the reality you experience. Fill your mind with limitation, and your life will reflect those limits. Fill it with possibility, and entirely new opportunities begin to appear. Poverty thinking is like an invisible illness. It spreads quietly, and its symptoms often go unnoticed because they become normal. You constantly tell yourself that there is never enough. You assume opportunities belong to other people, but somehow, never to you. You convince yourself that success depends on luck that you simply were not born with. You avoid taking risks, not because you truly cannot handle them, but because you have been conditioned to fear uncertainty. You begin to believe that money controls your life, instead of realizing that you have the ability to control money. This mindset traps people in an endless cycle where every year looks the same, every paycheck disappears just as quickly as it arrives, and every dream slowly fades into disappointment. Escaping that cycle begins with changing your thoughts before trying to change your circumstances. Start questioning every belief you have accepted about money, success, and your own potential. Who convinced you that earning wealth must always be difficult? Who taught you that only a select few are capable of becoming financially successful? Who made you believe that life is unfair and that nothing you do can change your future? Those are not facts. They are simply the voices of poverty thinking, and they deserve to be challenged. Replace those limiting beliefs with questions that expand your possibilities. Stop asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" and begin asking, "Why can't I become successful too?" Stop saying, "I can't afford it," and instead ask yourself, "What can I do to make it affordable?" The direction of your life is heavily influenced by the quality of the questions you ask yourself every day. Each time you repeat a limiting belief, you reinforce failure inside your own mind. Every empowering belief you repeat trains your brain to search for solutions instead of excuses. Your mind is not permanently fixed. It is flexible. It can be strengthened and reshaped just like any muscle, but only through consistent practice. That practice requires making a conscious decision every day to reject thoughts rooted in scarcity, and replace them with thoughts grounded in abundance. It requires surrounding yourself with people who dream bigger, think differently, and constantly challenge themselves. It also means distancing yourself from those who spend their lives complaining instead of creating solutions. If you consistently surround yourself with people who think small, your own thinking will eventually shrink to match theirs. But if you spend time around people who believe in growth, possibility, and progress, your own perspective will naturally expand. The transition from poverty thinking to wealth thinking begins the moment you stop blaming outside circumstances and start accepting responsibility for your own future. A poverty mindset says, "The system is designed against me." A wealth mindset says, "No matter the system, I will discover a way to succeed." A poverty mindset says, "I don't have the necessary skills." A wealth mindset says, "Then I'll learn those skills." A poverty mindset waits for permission before taking action. A wealth mindset begins moving long before anyone gives approval. The instant you embrace this new perspective, you stop viewing yourself as a victim of circumstance and begin acting as the designer of your own future. This does not mean pretending challenges don't exist. Difficulties are real, obstacles are unavoidable, but they should never become your identity. You may be struggling financially today, but that is simply your present condition, not your permanent identity. Your financial situation can change. Your mindset can determine whether it does. Many wealthy people have experienced periods of being completely broke. The difference is that they refuse to think like poor people. Likewise, many individuals receive large amounts of money, yet eventually lose everything because they never changed the mindset that created financial struggle in the first place. This is exactly why so many lottery winners eventually return to financial hardship. They entered wealth with the same habits, beliefs, and decisions that previously kept them poor. The bank account changed, but the thinking did not. And eventually, mindset always overpowers circumstance. Real wealth begins long before the first $1 million arrives. It begins with the size of your vision for your own life. You must genuinely believe that abundance is possible for you, that growth is available to you, and that success is something you can build rather than something you simply hope for. The poverty mindset believes, if I had more money, then my life would improve. The wealth mindset understands, if I improve myself, more money will naturally follow. That simple shift changes everything. Money is rarely the starting point, it is usually the result. Change the cause, your habits, beliefs, and mindset, and the financial results begin to change as well. Breaking free from poverty thinking also requires transforming your relationship with failure. Someone with a scarcity mindset views failure as proof that they were never capable. Someone with an abundance mindset views failure as valuable information that points toward improvement. Every setback carries a lesson. Every mistake offers guidance. Every obstacle provides an opportunity to become wiser, stronger, and more prepared for future success. If failure terrifies you, you will avoid the very actions that create wealth. If you learn to embrace failure as part of growth, you will continue improving until success eventually becomes unavoidable. Do not expect your mind to welcome these changes immediately. It naturally prefers familiar beliefs, even when those beliefs keep you stuck. It will attempt to protect you from discomfort by encouraging you to remain exactly where you are. But comfort rarely produces growth. You cannot build a different life while continuing to think like the person who created your current one. You must willingly leave behind the version of yourself that constantly doubted, hesitated, and accepted less than you deserved. In its place, you must develop a new identity, someone who believes, takes action, learns continuously, and expects more from life. Every single day presents another decision. You can nourish your mind with thoughts that strengthen your confidence or with thoughts that weaken your determination. You can speak words that move you closer to financial freedom or words that reinforce financial limitation. You can spend your time around voices that inspire growth or voices that drain your ambition. The future you experience will not be determined by luck or coincidence. It will be shaped by the choices you repeatedly make. When you choose to think like someone who builds wealth, you begin recognizing opportunities where others notice only problems. You become willing to take thoughtful, calculated risks while others remain trapped by fear. You invest in learning while others spend their energy complaining. You may begin with very little, and that's perfectly acceptable. What matters is that you begin. Every small action creates momentum, and that momentum gradually transforms the impossible into reality. You are not permanently limited by your past, your childhood, your mistakes, or your current circumstances. The only chains that truly hold you back are the beliefs you continue to accept without questioning. The moment you choose different beliefs, you begin creating a different future. The instant you choose to release those limiting beliefs, you open the gateway to financial freedom. Your mind can become your greatest investment or your greatest obstacle. The choice is entirely yours, and the decision you make today will influence every area of your future. Stop allowing yourself to think from a place of scarcity and begin thinking from a place of abundance. The wealth you dream of starts moving toward you the moment your mind becomes prepared to receive it. Chapter 2. The school system was never designed to make you wealthy. Traditional education teaches you how to earn a paycheck. Real financial freedom begins when you understand how to make your money generate more money on your behalf. That is one of the most important lessons many people never discover until decades have already passed. Since childhood, you have probably been told that if you study hard, earn excellent grades, and receive a diploma, success will naturally follow. But if that belief were completely true, why do countless highly educated people continue to struggle financially? Why do professionals with advanced degrees often spend years buried under debt while entrepreneurs with little or no formal education sometimes achieve financial independence long before retirement? The answer is both simple and difficult to accept. The education system was never created to make people financially wealthy. Its primary purpose has always been to prepare individuals to become dependable employees. From your very first day inside a classroom, you were taught to follow instructions, respect authority, and complete assigned tasks. You learned to memorize facts, repeat information during examinations, and earn grades based on your ability to recall what you had been taught. Yet very little time was spent teaching you how to create multiple streams of income, invest wisely, build profitable assets, or understand how money truly functions. You learned historical dates, scientific formulas, and mathematical equations, but almost no one explained how to interpret financial statements, understand cash flow, or evaluate the return on an investment. You were conditioned to ask permission, wait for instructions, and measure your value through grades and certificates. Unfortunately, those habits alone do not prepare someone to thrive in the world of wealth creation. Financially successful people recognize something that traditional education often overlooks. Academic knowledge may help you qualify for a career, but financial knowledge gives you the opportunity to achieve freedom. You can graduate with honors and still spend your entire life living paycheck to paycheck if you never learn how money actually works. You can hold multiple degrees and still find yourself one unexpected financial crisis away from losing everything. Rarely does the school system explain the powerful difference between assets and liabilities, even though understanding that single distinction can completely transform your financial future. It rarely emphasizes passive income, despite the fact that passive income is what continues supporting you long after you stop exchanging your time for money. If your goal is to build wealth from nothing, the first step is letting go of many of the financial myths you accepted while growing up. A college degree is not a guarantee of financial freedom. It is simply one tool among many. Like every other tool, its value depends entirely on the person using it. Many people mistakenly believe their education ends the day they graduate. In reality, graduation is only the beginning of the education that truly determines your financial future. You must become your own teacher in the subjects that matter most: investing, managing cash flow, understanding taxes, negotiating effectively, building assets, and developing entrepreneurial thinking. These are the abilities that create genuine independence. These are the skills that allow ordinary earners to become financially successful. Think about the thousands of hours you spent in classrooms learning punctuality, following directions, asking permission to speak, and preparing for examinations. Then ask yourself how much time was devoted to understanding debt management, protecting your income from unnecessary taxes, analyzing investment opportunities, or building businesses? For most people, the answer is almost none. That is not a coincidence. The system is primarily designed to produce employees rather than creators of wealth. It rewards conformity more often than innovation, values security over calculated risk, and encourages consumption more than production. It offers a path that appears stable and predictable. However, depending entirely upon one paycheck is not genuine financial security. If that paycheck disappears, so does your financial stability. Wealthy individuals rarely wait for someone else to educate them. They take full responsibility for expanding their financial knowledge. They read books about investing, study economic trends, seek guidance from experienced mentors, and constantly improve their understanding of money. Every financial mistake becomes a lesson, and every opportunity becomes another classroom. They understand that life itself is the greatest school, and every decision involving time, money, and opportunity is an examination. Pass enough of those financial tests, and you eventually earn freedom. Continue failing them, and the cycle of financial struggle simply repeats itself year after year. Everything begins with changing the way you think. Stop behaving like a student who waits for instructions before taking action. Begin thinking like an entrepreneur who learns by doing, adapts quickly, and keeps moving forward despite uncertainty. Replace the belief that hard work alone creates wealth with the understanding that intelligent decisions, strategic planning, and continuous learning are what truly generate long-term prosperity. Train your mind to recognize opportunities where others only notice obstacles. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," begin asking yourself, "What can I do to make it affordable?" That one change in perspective shifts your focus away from excuses and towards solutions. Financial skills are not impossibly difficult to learn. They simply require commitment, patience, and consistent practice. Learn how to monitor every dollar that comes in and every dollar that goes out. Learn to save and invest before spending on unnecessary wants. Learn how to identify liabilities disguised as assets, like expensive vehicles or luxury purchases that constantly remove money from your pocket instead of adding to it. Learn how to place your money into businesses, investments, or ideas capable of increasing in value over time. Most importantly, understand that lasting wealth is not created through one lucky event. It is built through consistent habits repeated every single day. The financial choices you make consistently matter far more than the amount of money appearing on each paycheck. If you want to rise above financial mediocrity, self-education is no longer optional. It becomes essential. The books you study, the podcasts you hear, the mentors you follow, and the conversations you choose become your new classrooms. Every financially successful individual you admire reached that position by learning lessons that traditional education never covered. They actively searched for knowledge about investing, business, money management, and wealth creation, then consistently applied what they learned. They understood one important reality: no one else was coming to secure their financial future. So they accepted complete responsibility for their own growth. You must make that same decision. Do not misunderstand the value of formal education. Schools can provide useful knowledge, valuable experiences, and opportunities that open important doors throughout life. However, formal education represents only one part of the entire picture. The remaining pieces, the knowledge that leads to financial independence, must be discovered through your own curiosity, discipline, and commitment to lifelong learning. You must become willing to question conventional advice, challenge beliefs that no longer serve you, and actively search for knowledge that brings you closer to true financial freedom. The reality is that the education system is not failing. It is accomplishing exactly what it was originally created to accomplish. It simply was never intended to make everyone wealthy. Creating wealth is a responsibility that belongs entirely to you. If you continue relying only on what school taught you, chances are you will continue earning enough merely to survive. If you decide to learn the financial principles that wealthy people understand, you can build a life where you no longer spend your entire existence working for money. Instead, your money begins working tirelessly for you. And when that transformation happens, you will finally discover what real financial education truly means. Chapter 3. Build assets instead of collecting liabilities. Every dollar that enters your life immediately takes one of two paths. It either begins working to improve your future, or it quietly works against it. There is no middle ground. That simple truth separates those who steadily build wealth from those who slowly lose it. Most people spend decades exchanging their time for money without ever realizing that money itself has the power to create even more money. Instead of purchasing assets that generate future income, they spend their earnings on possessions that create the appearance of success while quietly destroying long-term wealth. They chase status through expensive cars, the latest technology, designer clothing, and luxury purchases that lose value almost immediately after they are bought. These are liabilities, silent drains on your finances that continuously take money from your pocket while giving almost nothing back in return. The financially successful operate by a completely different set of principles. Instead of spending most of their income on consumption, they use it to purchase assets, rental properties that provide monthly cash flow, businesses that continue generating profits, stocks that distribute dividends, and intellectual property that earns royalties year after year. They understand that real assets are not about showing off or impressing others. They are about creating leverage. A true asset quietly goes to work every single day, producing income whether you are awake, asleep, traveling, or spending time with your family. It continues creating value even when you are not actively working. When you are starting with very little, the temptation to spend money on appearances can be overwhelming. Society constantly encourages you to look wealthy, even if doing so means falling deeper into debt. That is one of the biggest financial traps you can fall into. Every dollar you earn and every penny you manage to save should move you one step closer to owning assets that produce income. In the beginning, your investments may seem small. Perhaps you purchase a handful of shares in a quality company, invest in equipment that helps you launch a side business, or acquire a modest piece of land with future potential. The size of the investment is far less important than the direction your money is moving. Money placed into the right opportunities grows over time. It compounds, it expands, it creates even more opportunities. Money spent on liabilities, however, stops working the moment it leaves your hands. Discipline is your greatest financial advantage. Without self-control, even a large income disappears surprisingly fast. With discipline, however, even an average income can slowly be transformed into multiple streams of passive income. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is learning to delay gratification. Resist the temptation to purchase luxury items the moment you receive your paycheck. Instead, allow your assets to purchase those luxuries for you. In other words, only buy something expensive after your investments generate enough passive income to pay for it without reducing your original investment. That is how financially successful people enjoy life's comforts without becoming financially trapped by them. Managing money goes far beyond simply creating a monthly budget. It begins with giving every dollar a clear purpose. Each dollar should either be assigned the task of building your future wealth or be recognized as money that is disappearing without creating value. Before making any purchase, pause and ask yourself a simple question. Will this purchase put money into my pocket, or will it continue taking money out of it? If the answer is that it removes money from your pocket, then it is functioning as a liability, and liabilities always push financial freedom further into the future. Many people in the middle class and lower income groups purchase liabilities while convincing themselves they are making investments. They assume that owning a home or buying a new vehicle automatically creates wealth. The reality is different. Unless that property consistently generates rental income or that vehicle earns money through business activities, both remain ongoing expenses rather than income-producing investments. This philosophy is not about denying yourself happiness or refusing every comfort in life. It is about building such a strong financial foundation that your comfort becomes permanent instead of temporary. Lasting wealth is built through steady, thoughtful, and intentional investing. Passive income does not appear overnight. It requires patience, consistency, and time. But once those income streams become established, they continue rewarding you long into the future. Imagine reaching a point where your assets generate enough income every month to cover every living expense you have. That is genuine financial freedom. At that point, you are no longer exchanging hours of your life for a paycheck. Instead, your money is producing even more money on your behalf. Everything begins with a single decision. Choose to see every dollar you earn as a loyal soldier within your financial army. You can send those soldiers into battle by purchasing assets that strengthen your future, or you can allow them to be captured by liabilities that quietly destroy your wealth. The more financial soldiers you place into productive investments, the stronger your financial army becomes and the faster your wealth continues growing. Always remember that money should never remain idle. Money that sits without purpose represents lost opportunity, and wasted opportunity is one of the quietest forms of poverty. Even if your financial resources are limited today, you still have the ability to begin. Reduce unnecessary spending. Redirect those savings into investment opportunities. Allow those investments to grow into valuable assets. In the beginning, the habit matters far more than the amount. Over time, those seemingly small investments begin rolling forward like a snowball, gathering size and momentum. Compound growth is not based on luck or magic. It is simply the power of mathematics working consistently over long periods. $10 invested wisely today can eventually become hundreds. Those hundreds can become thousands, and those thousands can continue multiplying if given enough patience and discipline. One of the most important transformations you will ever experience is changing your identity from being a consumer to becoming an investor. Stop asking yourself, what can I buy today? Instead, begin asking, what can I build that will continue creating value tomorrow? Stop seeing money as something that immediately needs to be spent. Begin seeing it as something that should be planted. Assets are like seeds placed into fertile soil. Liabilities are like weeds that slowly choke the life out of everything around them. One nourishes your financial future, the other quietly destroys it. Become relentless about removing unnecessary liabilities from your life. Every liability you eliminate creates additional space for another asset to grow. Many people around you will never understand these decisions. They may question why you continue driving an older vehicle when financing a brand new one seems easy. They may wonder why you intentionally live below your means when increasing your lifestyle appears possible. Do not allow their opinions to distract you. They measure success by appearance. You measure success by freedom. Eventually, your assets will begin paying your bills, funding your lifestyle, and supporting your future. At that point, many of those same people will ask how you managed to achieve what they considered impossible. By then, they will realize that there are no shortcuts capable of replacing years of discipline and wise financial decisions. The reality is that building assets rarely feels exciting during the early years. Progress often feels slow. Sometimes it feels painfully slow. There will be sacrifices. There will be moments when you choose to decline things you want immediately in exchange for something far greater in the future. Then one day you will wake up and recognize that your investments are working harder than you ever have. That is the moment you realize every sacrifice was worthwhile. Financial growth is ultimately a decision. Passive income is the natural outcome of consistently managing money with intelligence and discipline. Real wealth is usually built quietly, far away from applause, recognition, or public attention. It is created by making wise decisions today that your future self will deeply appreciate. Begin now. Every day you postpone action is another day your money either remains inactive or continues disappearing into liabilities. Stop feeding the habits that keep making you poorer. Instead, nourish the assets capable of setting you financially free. The formula has always been remarkably simple, even though following it requires discipline. Earn, save, invest, repeat. Allow assets to become your primary focus, your greatest priority, and your lifelong commitment. Because once your assets become large enough, they purchase the one resource no amount of money can ever replace: your time. And time is the greatest measure of true wealth. Chapter 4. Transform your skills into a wealth-generating machine. The most valuable investment you will ever possess is your own ability to create value for other people. Many individuals believe wealth is something that arrives only after they already possess money, powerful connections, or extraordinary luck. That belief alone is one of the biggest reasons so many people remain trapped in average lives. You do not need a large amount of money before you begin building wealth. You do not need perfect circumstances or an incredible opportunity to suddenly appear. What you already possess at this very moment is one of the most overlooked forms of capital in existence: your knowledge, your abilities, your time, and your creativity. These are far more than ordinary personal qualities. They are the seeds from which lasting wealth can grow, waiting patiently for someone willing to cultivate them. The real difference between people who remain financially stuck and those who steadily build wealth is the moment they stop treating their talents as casual hobbies and begin treating them as valuable assets. Every human being possesses at least one ability they perform better than the average person. Perhaps your strength lies in teaching complex ideas in a simple way, solving difficult problems, creating beautiful artwork, writing persuasive content, designing eye-catching visuals, developing software, selling products, repairing equipment, organizing complicated situations, or communicating in a way that motivates others to take action. The unfortunate reality is that most people never take the time to discover these strengths. Instead, they spend decades exchanging hours of their lives for a paycheck while hoping that someday luck will change everything. But the marketplace does not reward people for waiting. It rewards those who create value. If your goal is to generate income from the ground up, you must first identify what people genuinely need and then determine how you can provide that solution more effectively, more efficiently, or in a more distinctive way than anyone else. Position yourself as the trusted expert within your chosen field, so that when people think about your area of expertise, your name naturally comes to mind first. Remember, you are not merely selling a product or a service. You are building trust. You are establishing authority. You are sharing a story that allows people to believe in both you and your work. There are countless ways to generate income from your skills. You can exchange your time for money through one-on-one services. You can create digital products such as books, courses, or templates that continue selling even while you sleep. You can license your work and receive payment every time someone uses it. You can build an audience that generates income through sponsorships, advertising, affiliate partnerships, or collaborations. You can transform your expertise into a consulting business that helps others achieve better results. The greatest advantage of this path is that you decide how large you want to build it. Begin with a single customer, one completed project, one successful sale, one valuable product. Then gradually create systems that allow you to help more people without increasing your working hours at the same rate. The moment your talent becomes a product, a service, or a recognizable brand is the moment your financial future stops depending entirely upon one paycheck. That is the point where you stop participating passively in the economy and begin actively creating value within it. From that day forward, you gain increasing control over your earning potential instead of allowing an employer to determine your financial future. Your value is no longer measured by the number of hours you work. It becomes measured by the quality of the results you consistently produce. Never underestimate the incredible power hidden inside small beginnings. Many successful entrepreneurs began by freelancing after finishing their regular jobs. Others started by offering inexpensive services online. Some worked for friends or family at little or no cost, simply to build experience and create a strong portfolio. Gradually, they improved their skills. They refined their offers. They increased their prices. They developed systems that consistently attracted better clients. What started as a modest side hustle eventually became a thriving full-time business. Businesses that began with almost no financial capital eventually grew into brands worth millions. They never waited until conditions became perfect. They simply started with whatever resources they already possessed. Their abilities became their first investment. Perhaps the most dangerous belief you can hold is convincing yourself that you are not ready yet. That single thought, keeps more people trapped in financial struggle than almost any economic downturn. You will never possess complete confidence. You will never know everything. You will never have every resource you wish you had. What you already possess today is more than enough to take the first step. Readiness is not something you wait for. It is something created through action. Every customer you help, every project you complete, every product you launch, each experience strengthens your confidence, improves your abilities, and increases your position within the marketplace. No book alone can fully teach entrepreneurship. Eventually, you must leave theory behind and begin playing the game yourself. Never forget that skills have unlimited potential. They can always be strengthened, expanded, refined, and multiplied. One deeply mastered ability can create several different streams of income. Someone who writes exceptionally well can freelance for businesses, publish best-selling books, teach writing programs, develop newsletters, and create marketing campaigns. Someone with programming expertise can accept freelance contracts, develop software, advise startups, build digital products, and sell applications around the world. The possibilities are limited only by the size of your imagination and your willingness to take consistent action. Challenges will certainly appear along the way. Not everyone will immediately recognize the value of your work. There will be rejection. There will be criticism. Progress may feel frustratingly slow in the beginning, yet every obstacle contains another lesson. Every rejection moves you one step closer to the people who truly appreciate your value. Resilience is not separate from success. It is an essential part of developing it. The entrepreneurs who eventually succeed are not the individuals who never experience failure. They are the ones who repeatedly stand back up, improve their offers, refine their systems, and continue serving people at an even higher level. Your greatest leverage in the marketplace will always be your ability to create meaningful value. Money naturally flows toward value. Value is created whenever a valuable skill solves a genuine problem. Once you truly understand that principle, you will stop chasing every temporary trend that appears online. Instead, you will dedicate your energy to becoming exceptionally good at what you do best. That level of focused mastery builds your reputation, attracts better opportunities, and steadily increases your income year after year. The decision now belongs entirely to you. You have a choice. You can continue hiding your talents where no one ever discovers them, or you can bring those abilities into the marketplace, strengthen them through constant improvement, and allow them to become a source of lasting wealth. The world is under no obligation to provide you with a comfortable living, but it is always willing to generously reward those who solve meaningful problems for others. That is the mindset you must fully adopt if your goal is to transform your skills into a reliable machine for generating income. Begin by taking an honest inventory of your abilities. Discover what you are naturally good at and identify the problems those abilities can solve. Turn your knowledge into a product or service that people immediately understand and find easy to purchase. Show up consistently, improve every day, and never stop refining your craft. Build a personal brand that becomes recognized for excellence so that your name eventually represents quality and trust within your field. Create income through services, products, systems, and scalable opportunities that continue producing revenue even while you are resting. Above everything else, never forget that your greatest asset is not the balance inside your bank account. Your greatest wealth exists inside your mind, your hands, your experience, and your ability to create valuable solutions whenever they are needed. That is how true wealth is built from absolutely nothing. Chapter 5. Build multiple streams of income. Depending on a single source of income is almost the same as having no financial security at all. Building your entire financial life around one paycheck is like placing all your weight on a single narrow branch. It may support you for a period of time, but the moment that branch breaks, everything built upon it falls apart as well. Far too many people convince themselves that earning one reliable salary automatically means they are financially secure. In reality, security becomes an illusion whenever your future depends entirely upon one employer, one company, one industry, or one unexpected event. one job loss, one economic downturn, one technological disruption, one personal emergency. Any one of these situations has the power to completely change your financial life overnight. This is not meant to create fear. It is simply the reality of the modern economy. Financially successful people understand this principle very clearly. That is why they never rely on a single financial leg to support their future. Instead, they build stability, flexibility, and long-term growth by creating several streams of income that continue flowing whether they are actively working or not. The principle itself is remarkably simple. Never become completely dependent upon one source of income when you have the opportunity to create several. Wealthy individuals think about money the same way they think about flowing water. They know a single stream can unexpectedly dry up. Instead of hoping it never happens, they create additional streams, dig new channels, and allow income to arrive from many different directions. A full-time job is one stream. A rental property that generates monthly cash flow is another. A digital product that continues selling every month is another. A portfolio of investments paying dividends creates another. Over time, these individual streams combine into larger rivers. Eventually, those rivers grow into an ocean of income that continues flowing regardless of what happens to any single source. If financial security is your goal, then understand this important truth. Diversifying your income is not something reserved exclusively for wealthy people. It is a necessity for anyone who values freedom and long-term stability. The more sources of income you create, the less vulnerable you become. If one stream slows down, several others continue producing cash flow. That is how financially prepared people survive difficult economic seasons. One income source weakens, the others continue carrying the weight. Many financial experts often point out that the average millionaire receives income from multiple different sources rather than relying upon only one paycheck. They refuse to place their future entirely into the hands of a single employer. They do not depend upon someone else's business decisions to determine their financial destiny. Instead, they intentionally design their own system for generating consistent cash flow. Among all the different income sources available, passive income remains one of the most powerful. Active income always requires your direct participation. Your salary, hourly wage, freelance work, or consulting services depend upon your time and effort. Passive income operates differently. It continues generating money while you are sleeping, traveling, spending time with your family, or building your next opportunity. Passive income can come from investments, rental properties, royalties earned from books, music, or creative work, online courses, affiliate marketing, subscription businesses, automated digital products, or businesses capable of operating without your constant involvement. The true beauty of passive income lies in the fact that once the system has been created, it can continue producing revenue for years while requiring only occasional maintenance. Do not wait until you feel wealthy before beginning. Start with whatever resources you currently have. You do not need millions of dollars to create your first additional stream of income. Perhaps you begin by freelancing during evenings or weekends. Perhaps you sell products online. Offer consulting within your area of expertise. Invest your first $100 into a diversified investment fund and allow compound growth to begin working for you. Create a digital product, write an ebook, develop a course, build a useful tool or resource that can be sold repeatedly without recreating it every time someone buys it. The objective is never to create every possible income stream immediately. The objective is to begin with one, master it, then build another, then another. Gradually, a tiny trickle becomes a steady current. That current eventually becomes a powerful river. And with enough patience, discipline, and consistency, that river grows into a flood of financial opportunity. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is believing they must quit their regular job before they can begin creating wealth. That simply is not true. Your current job can become the very foundation that finances your future investments. Allow your salary to do more than simply cover monthly expenses. Use it to purchase assets capable of producing future income. Unfortunately, many people spend decades working hard, only to consume every dollar they earn. Nothing remains available to grow. Nothing continues working after the paycheck has been spent. Even redirecting a relatively small percentage of your income toward building new income streams can completely transform your financial future over time. The strategy matters, but your mindset matters just as much. Someone relying on only one source of income usually thinks like an employee. They exchange time for money. Someone building multiple income streams begins thinking like both an investor and a creator. Instead of constantly working for money, they focus on making money work on their behalf. Every dollar becomes a worker assigned a specific mission. Its purpose is to leave, create additional dollars, and eventually return with reinforcements. Their thinking changes. Rather than asking, "How can I earn more hours?" they begin asking, "How can this skill, this idea, this experience, or this resource be transformed into another stream of income?" They actively search for opportunities instead of simply searching for comfort. True financial security always comes through diversification. A wise investor would never place every dollar into one single stock. Likewise, you should never place your entire financial future into one paycheck. Life constantly changes. Markets evolve. Businesses closes. Technology reshapes industries overnight. Economic conditions rise and fall. But when income continues arriving from several independent sources, your financial life becomes significantly more resilient. One stream may experience a difficult season. The others continue supporting you. That is the financial safety net most people never build. It is also the reason why so many individuals panic whenever their only source of income suddenly disappears. Investing remains one of the most accessible and effective methods for creating additional streams of income. With patience, education, and consistent discipline, you can gradually invest in stocks, bonds, real estate, privately owned businesses, or other appreciating assets. Every investment carries its own balance of risk and potential reward. Choosing wisely requires understanding your financial goals, your timeline, and your comfort with risk. Real estate can provide dependable monthly rental income. Stocks may generate dividend payments while increasing in value over many years. Bonds often provide steady interest income. Financially successful people rarely depend upon only one investment category. Instead, they intentionally build diversified portfolios capable of producing income through several different channels. Digital income has become another incredibly powerful opportunity in today's world. Technology now allows almost anyone to reach customers around the globe without requiring enormous startup costs. You can publish ebooks, develop online courses, launch membership communities, create subscription-based services, build e-commerce businesses, sell digital templates, offer downloadable resources, or create software that serves people worldwide. Unlike many traditional businesses, digital businesses possess the remarkable ability to grow far beyond their original size without requiring costs and effort to increase at the same pace. Create something valuable once, and it can continue generating income for years to come. That is one of the greatest advantages of digital and scalable products. This is exactly why so many entrepreneurs are choosing online businesses as one of the primary ways to expand and diversify their sources of income. Royalties represent another powerful form of passive income. Whenever you create something meaningful, a book, a piece of music, software, a digital tool, or any form of intellectual property, you gain the opportunity to earn every time that creation is purchased, licensed, or used by someone else. This type of income rewards creativity, innovation, and long-term thinking. It explains why authors continue receiving payments years after publishing a book, why musicians continue earning from songs they recorded long ago, why software developers benefit every time someone purchases or subscribes to their creations. Their work continues producing income long after the original effort has been completed. Cash flow is the lifeblood of lasting financial freedom. The greater the number of income streams you create, the stronger and more reliable your cash flow becomes. Healthy cash flow allows you to reinvest more aggressively. It enables you to recognize opportunities and act on them quickly. It gives you the ability to survive financial setbacks without constant fear or panic. Most importantly, it provides the freedom to make decisions based upon your desires instead of your financial necessities. When your livelihood no longer depends entirely upon one paycheck, you regain control over both your time and your choices. Creating multiple streams of income is not driven by greed. It is driven by responsibility. You owe it to yourself and to the people who depend upon you to build financial security, flexibility, and options. Relying on a single source of income is placing your future at unnecessary risk. Building several sources is protecting it. As the legendary investor Warren Buffett wisely said, "Never depend on a single income. Make an investment to create a second source." Building those additional streams will require patience. There will be obstacles. Some ideas will succeed immediately. Others will fail before eventually becoming profitable. Yet every attempt teaches valuable lessons. Every challenge increases your knowledge. Every experience strengthens your resilience. Every new stream of income expands your financial stability, increases your confidence, and gives you greater control over the life you want to live. Begin thinking beyond the mindset of an employee. Develop the mindset of an investor. Stop depending upon one source. Start intentionally building several. Each additional stream you create moves you another step closer to financial independence. Every new dollar flowing into your life strengthens the river of your wealth. Eventually, those individual rivers combine into something far greater. When that happens, losing one job no longer creates panic. A recession no longer threatens your survival. Unexpected expenses no longer destroy your peace of mind. You remain stable because your financial foundation is no longer supported by one fragile branch. It is supported by an entire forest. The truth is impossible to ignore. One income source is dangerously close to having none at all. If your goal is protecting yourself, expanding your wealth, and living with genuine financial freedom, then committing to multiple streams of income is no longer optional. Do not wait until conditions become perfect. Do not wait for one extraordinary opportunity. Begin with whatever is available today. Start small, start immediately, then continue building until your income flows with unstoppable momentum. Chapter 6. Understand the rules of money, then learn how to think beyond them. Financially successful people seem to play by a completely different set of rules because they understand the game in a way most people never do. Money is much more than paper, coins, or numbers displayed inside a bank account. It is a system, a game played by those who understand its principles and misunderstood by those who remain trapped beneath them. Since childhood, most people have been handed the exact same financial script: study hard, earn excellent grades, attend college, find a secure job, save a little money, purchase a house, work until retirement, then finally enjoy life. For many people, this script appears comforting and familiar, yet for countless others, it quietly becomes the invisible chain that limits their financial potential. Wealthy individuals rarely follow that traditional formula because they understand something important. That path was never originally designed to create extraordinary wealth. Instead, they dedicate themselves to learning the real principles governing money. The principles rarely discussed inside classrooms, the lessons shared among experienced investors, successful entrepreneurs, business leaders, and financial mentors. Money behaves much like a flowing river. Most people spend their lives standing beside it, watching opportunities move past, while hoping to collect whatever small amount happens to drift toward them. The wealthy take a different approach. They build channels. They redirect the flow. They create systems that allow the river to work continuously in their favor. They understand that assets function like seeds, capable of growing into forests that continually produce cash flow. They also recognize that liabilities resemble weeds, quietly consuming resources while preventing those financial trees from reaching their full potential. They know cash flow is the heartbeat of lasting wealth. Without healthy cash flow, financial progress eventually comes to a halt. Throughout life, many people are taught to fear every form of debt. However, financially educated individuals understand that debt itself is not the enemy. Used wisely and strategically, debt becomes leverage. Leverage allows people to accomplish far more than they could using only their own money. They borrow responsibly at lower interest rates. Then they invest those funds into opportunities capable of producing returns significantly greater than the borrowing cost. In doing so, they transform other people's money into additional streams of income for themselves. The tax system also operates according to rules that many people never fully understand. It does not reward ignorance, it rewards knowledge. Employees generally pay taxes before they ever gain access to much of their income. Business owners, investors, entrepreneurs, asset builders, they often structure their financial lives so that money first creates value before taxes are ultimately calculated. Through businesses, corporations, trusts, legal deductions, and carefully planned financial strategies, they legitimately reduce the amount they owe. Most workers never even realize these opportunities exist. This is not dishonesty. It is simply the result of understanding the system more thoroughly than the average person. Yet an even deeper truth exists. Once you truly understand the rules of money, you begin realizing they are far more flexible than they initially appear. Financial principles are not permanently fixed. They often bend in favor of those who understand how they operate, and they frequently reward people willing to question conventional assumptions. Many people are taught that saving money is always the safest strategy. Yet inflation slowly reduces the purchasing power of idle cash year after year. Financially successful people understand this reality. Instead of allowing money to lose value, they place it into investments capable of growing over time. Many people are encouraged to pay off their homes as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, experienced investors often use the equity within those homes to acquire additional income-producing assets. Society frequently teaches people to avoid risk altogether. Successful wealth builders understand that carefully calculated risk is often the engine powering financial growth. The greatest financial liability you can ever carry is ignorance. Ignorance quietly steals opportunities. It delays freedom. It costs years of potential growth. Knowledge, on the other hand, remains the most valuable asset anyone can possess. Once genuine financial understanding becomes part of your thinking, no one can ever take it away. Financial education is not merely helpful. It is the foundation supporting every lasting fortune. Without it, every financial decision rests upon unstable ground. With it, you gain the confidence to navigate almost any financial situation with intelligence and clarity. Everything begins by refusing to blindly follow the financial rules handed to you throughout life. Instead, begin studying the principles that truly influence wealth. Understand how cash flow functions and why it often matters far more than the size of your salary. Learn how leverage can responsibly multiply your returns. Master the ability to transform liabilities into productive assets. As these principles become second nature, your perspective begins changing completely. You start recognizing possibilities where others notice only obstacles. You begin discovering wealth where others continue seeing scarcity. The financially successful are not performing magic. They simply understand the game of money at a much deeper level than most people ever choose to learn. They understand that the financial game naturally favors those who own productive assets rather than those who spend their lives burdened by debt. They recognize that money consistently flows toward people who know how to manage, direct, and multiply it, while it quietly slips away from those who fear it or fail to understand it. They also realize that financial rules are not always permanent. Throughout history, those with knowledge, influence, and vision have continually reshaped those rules to create new opportunities. Now the decision belongs to you. You can continue living as a pawn in a game designed by someone else, or you can become the strategist who creates your own path and writes your own financial future. Making that decision requires courage. It demands discipline. It calls for an unwavering commitment to lifelong learning. You must stop searching for comfort and begin pursuing mastery. You must choose to become a creator instead of remaining only a consumer, an owner instead of a borrower, someone who builds rather than someone who simply depends. As the saying reminds us, the wealthy succeed because they understand that money operates according to a different set of principles than most people ever learn. The question now is simple. Will you continue playing a game where the odds remain stacked against you? Or will you invest the time to understand the strategies that allow you to master it? The moment you decide to study, learn, and consistently apply financial knowledge, everything begins to change. From that point forward, you stop merely surviving inside the system. You begin using that very system as a tool for creating your own version of wealth, independence, and freedom. That is the moment financial rules stop feeling like barriers standing in your way. Instead, they become doors that you know exactly how to open whenever opportunity appears. Chapter 7. Escape the rat race mindset. If every dollar you earn depends entirely upon the number of hours you work, then sooner or later you will run out of time long before you build real wealth. That single truth defines the rat race that keeps millions of people trapped inside an endless cycle of working harder while making very little lasting progress. The moment you accept that your income will always remain tied to your available hours, you also accept a future built upon financial dependence. Countless people dedicate decades of their lives to working tirelessly, only to discover that the paycheck disappears the very moment the work stops. From childhood, many of us are conditioned to believe that exchanging our time for money is the only practical way to survive. Yet this belief becomes one of the strongest chains preventing financial freedom. As long as your earnings disappear whenever you stop working, genuine financial independence remains out of reach. Financially successful people have discovered how to break away from this trap. They intentionally separate their income from the amount of time they personally spend working. They build assets, they create businesses, they invest in opportunities, they develop intellectual property. They own systems capable of generating cash flow whether they are actively involved or not. That is the true secret behind escaping the rat race. Beginning with nothing requires much more than simply working harder than everyone else. It requires learning how to work intelligently. It requires developing multiple streams of income that continue growing over time. Your attention must gradually shift away from labor alone and toward leverage. Every hour you invest should create value that continues multiplying instead of simply increasing your next paycheck. Passive income should never be viewed as a luxury reserved for the wealthy. It is an essential component of lasting financial freedom. Passive income continues arriving while you are sleeping, while you are traveling, while you are spending time with the people you love, or while you are focused on creating your next opportunity. That is how you gradually reclaim ownership of your schedule, your freedom, and ultimately your life. Building those income-producing systems will not happen overnight. It demands patience, it requires consistency, it requires discipline, and above all, it requires continuous financial education. You must commit yourself to understanding money, learn about investing, study entrepreneurship, develop financial intelligence. Every asset you build today becomes another step away from living paycheck to paycheck tomorrow. The rat race resembles a treadmill. No matter how quickly you run, you remain in the exact same place. But the moment you create income capable of functioning independently from your daily effort, you finally begin moving forward. And once that momentum builds, your progress becomes faster and greater than you ever imagined possible. Your objective should never be to work longer hours. Your objective should be learning how to create greater income while depending upon fewer hours. That single shift in thinking separates financially free individuals from everyone else. It has never been only about working harder. It has always been about working differently. Real financial freedom means having genuine choices, the freedom to choose where you live, how you spend your days, what kind of work you pursue, who you spend your time with, and how you design your future. It means waking up every morning knowing that your income continues flowing whether you personally clock in for work or not. The rat race exists not only because of external circumstances, it also exists inside the mind. You must let go of the belief that a traditional job represents your only path toward financial security. Continue expanding your knowledge, develop valuable skills, take thoughtful and calculated risks, dedicate yourself to creating products, businesses, investments, and systems that generate value and in return, generate income without requiring your constant presence. That is the path leading from simple survival toward lasting prosperity, from scarcity toward abundance. If your goal is to build wealth starting from nothing, then escaping the rat race mindset is not simply one important step. It is the very foundation upon which financial freedom is built. Your future freedom depends upon making that decision today.